Hello, I'm Julia Esparza, Professor of the Department of Medical Library Science and Associate Director of the LSU HS Library. Today our objectives are for you to be able to identify how to find grant opportunities and to identify resources available to support your grant proposals. First, here is our library webpage. Note that if you have Windows 11, you'll need to use the other URL. I'll be sending out these slides, so you'll have the URLs. You don't have to worry about trying to capture them right now. From the home page that you just saw, go to the tab that says LSU HS LibGuides, and then click All LibGuides. Scroll down to the very bottom to where you get to Graduate Studies. Here you have the Graduate Studies LibGuide that has a lot of great resources. Today we're going to talk about the Grant Resources, which is a tab on the LibGuide. Here is the Grant Resources LibGuide home. Here it lists some resources at the top, author resources over here on the left, and then some other library resources here. So if you scroll down a little bit on the page, you'll see it has other NIH information and such. The first thing I want to talk about is ORCID and making sure that you have an ORCID ID. So if you're on this grant resources page, click Have Your ORCID ID ready to register or register for your free account. So you want to distinguish yourself, and most publishers require an ORCID ID for publication. This ORCID ID, think of it as a employee number or social security number that will identify you with any names or versions that you may have. So to create an account, you do sign in, register. From this screen, you enter your first name, you can enter your last if you want, primary email, and confirm your primary email, and then do next. You will then create a password, and you can choose to have quarterly emails sent to you. I don't have these emails sent to me. Just hit next. Next, you will choose your visibility settings. I have it set for everyone to see it because for me, the whole purpose of having ORCID is for people to see my intellectual capital and what I've created. So I have it set to everyone. You can choose whichever one you want. Just be aware that if you do trusted parties or only me, that it's going to limit your visibility. Once again, you can select to have information about ORCID sent to you. You do have to check, though, the terms of limit and I am not a robot, and then you hit register. You can then go to sign in. So it may keep you signed in, or it may actually say you need to sign in. So sign in. And this is what it looks like from the edit side. Here you see all of my different names, and I can add name if I want to. You can put in a biography if you want. If I go to my activities, you'll see that it has my employment, which I have everything listed. I have my education and qualifications, so if you have certifications, specializations, and things, stuff like that, you can put that in. Professional activities, I'm really bad. I should have this information in here because I've been president of a national association, but I don't. So that's something on my to-do list to do. But you should definitely put your professional activities in and keep it updated. My funding that I've received for my different grants, and then all of the different works that I've created. So this can be publications, conference papers, posters, book chapters, journal articles, or any other type of publication. These are examples of a conference paper, conference poster, and how it looks like. This is an example of a book chapter, and then this is an example of a journal article. Once you've created it, then this would be the public view and what people will see. This is your ORCID ID. This is the most important thing that you will have. And this is how people can reach your intellectual capital. I have my ORCID ID just like many other people have their ORCID ID at the top of their CV. It doesn't replace your CV or the material in the things that are listed in your CV, but it does give people a different way to look at your intellectual capital. If we go back to the Grant Resources LibGuide, you can have Grant Forward here, and we're going to go ahead and click that. I'm going to start out with still the PowerPoint slides, but then we're going to go to the active searching here in a second. So to sign up, you click Sign Up button at their webpage. It says Welcome to Grant Forward. You put in the email and all the other information that's required. It'll say offer you the ability to start building your profile or start searching for opportunities. I recommend you start building your profile, and the reason why is because it's really easy if you have your ORCID ID and the information in ORCID. So you can click Begin Building. You can also edit your profile anytime, and you can invite colleagues and researchers to look at your information. So to build your profile, you have to put in your email. It must be associated with the LSUHS. First name, last name, your title, department. Then it'll come to your research interests. This is where you can specify a publication web page. This is really beneficial because then that way you can put in your ORCID ID. And it'll also take a Google Scholar ID, a Bpress, any of these options. You can upload a curriculum vitae, but I have not found it to be very easy. So using ORCID is a much better choice. You can have it update from ORCID on whatever you're using on a monthly or other basis. You can add more interest if you want. This is what it looks like. Here's my ORCID ID. I've changed it to every 6 months. Add more interests. And you can click the plus button, add different interests. I've had it added health literacy, consumer health, information seeking, information malpractice, library science research, and medical library science. Finally, you can put in your education, your biography again, and a picture. I have done all that. And then it gives you profile options on who can see what. And so you can check any of those different things off. Once you're done, it will build the profile for you. It will say it's completely done. And then this is what it will look like. It'll show you the different information that you put in. Now we're going to switch to live searching. So I'm hopefully going to do this the best way possible. I'm going to open Grant Forward. I'm hoping that you see this. So I'm already signed in, and now I'm going to go to Grants and do Search Grant Opportunities. This is also in your PowerPoint, just a live search to show you the different options. So right now, I'm going to reset my search box. So there's 25,243 different grant opportunities in the system. These are the open ones and that are continuously being taking applications. I'm going to go ahead and put in neurobiology. For a keyword, and you can choose any keywords you might want, and imaging, and I'm going to hit search. It takes me down to 66 items. So now I can go down to different grant types or other applicant locations, other things, applicant types. I'm going to pretend that I'm a graduate student, so I'm going to check graduate. And then I'm also going to do a grant type that's only fellowship, scholarship, or dissertation, because that's you. So right now there's one research fellow opportunity with the Department of Defense, which may not be the most, it's not necessarily a grant, but it is a research fellow opportunity that you can keep in your mind going forward. Now, if I take this out and I put in Alzheimer's, it'll bring it down to 7 options. And note, it's kept my fellowship and my graduate because I didn't reset to default. And now you can see that it gives you different actual awards that you can apply for. So this is the Aging Research Dissertation Award, Scholarships and Pathways in Neuroscience. There's another fellowship program. Here's a pre-doctoral fellowship award. So there's lots of different opportunities out there if you're looking for grant funding while you're in working on your dissertation or your master's. And if I click on this first one, this takes me to a summary of the application, gives you the deadlines in it. It will tell you the amount information if you want to see that. And then it'll give you all the other different information. And what's nice is it will tell you the past awards that were funded under this grant, so you can see the types of awards that have been funded. If you want to actually see the full grant application, you can just click on application URL and it will take you to the Department of Health and Human Services overview information. Now, let's say that I've really liked this search and I want to save it. All I have to do is mouse over Save Load, choose Save a Search, and I can either update one that already exists or I can save a new search. So this one I'm going to do 2023 Alzheimer's, and I want to alert me every Monday, and I want it to send me an email even if there aren't any grants so that I know that the system's working. I'm a paranoid person, what can I say? And it'll tell me when the next alert will come. Now, if I go back home, which takes a second, and I go under grants, you'll see Save Searches. You can click that, and it will actually let you view, search, edit. And when you click that, it reruns the search for you. And this is also where you can edit the search and then save it again if you want in order to update it. You can also load a search. If you're in the middle of the search box, you can load a search by selecting the one you want, and it'll show up that way. So in this case, this is a search that's on the category neurology, and it has 83 options. There are no other limits, it's just neurology. Well, how did I get neurology? So I'm going to take that out. I'm going to reset everything to default. So here are these categories right here, and you can use these categories to find information. So if I do list and I go through, I can select an area that I might like. So I'm going to select medical sciences. But actually, I'm going to unselect that. I'm going to go to the categories. And I'm really interested in, let's see here, biomedicine. And I'm going to click under those subcategories. And then I'm going to go to nuclear medicine because I'm interested in imaging. So I'm going to hit add to that. And so now it comes up with 18 options for nuclear medicine. That's not enough necessarily to put limits on, but you get the idea of how you can set it up and see everything. If you're in the list and you select like the main subject area, if I select neurology, it'll select that subcategory. If I only want the subcategory, actually I have to click and do the subcategory. So, and you can also do clinical medicine if you want to look at it, information that way, epidemiology, medicinal chemistry, all different types of lists. So this can be a way of figuring out what, having a broader search than using specific keywords, especially if you're going to add in that you're looking for fellowship, scholarship, dissertation funding, and you're a graduate. Being broader in your search may bring up more options for you to look at. That is searching Grant Forward. So now I'm going to go back to my PowerPoint, which is here, and I'm going to skip a few pages because we just went through all this. And now we're going to talk about Grants.gov. So Grants.gov, so you can go to Grants.gov, you click register, and skip all this stuff up here at the top and go to get registered now. Fill in the information. I have it that I get grants alerts and grants newsletter, but that's because I'm a librarian. You probably will not necessarily want to receive those emails, so you can uncheck those. It's going to send you a temporary code to your email that you use. So when it does that, here's the email that you'll get. Here's the code right there. You'll put the code in and then you'll fill in any other additional information. You want to add your organization applicant profile, and when you add that, make sure that you choose LSU Health Shreveport and not New Orleans or LSU S. So you can log in, or you may show you're logged in with my account, or you can log in and then you can search for grants. And now I'm going to go back over to and pull this over here. And when you log in, it asks you to log in, and you have to use login.gov. And I've got my sign in, and it always will send you a text. Doesn't matter how many times you do this, it's going to send a text. And you just type in that number. It's only good for once, so it's not like it's something you need to keep secret. You hit submit, and then you're in. So this gives me the opportunity to search grants here. This is search system. It does have eligibility, it's got categories, but an agency, but it doesn't have a lot of options like Grant Forward, which is another reason why Grant Forward is preferred by some people instead of searching grants.gov. The key thing to remember when using grants.gov is that it ORs words together when you put a space between them. Unlike Google, if you put in Alzheimer's and imaging, just those two words in the Google box, it will look for a document that has both those words in it. Where in grants.gov, if you put Alzheimer's and imaging, it will look for all the documents that have Alzheimer's and all the documents that have imaging and list them. It's important to know that specific. So if you want to combine anything like Alzheimer's and imaging, then you need to actually type the word "and" in. So if I search that, it comes up with 2,469 matching results. I can put brackets around something and then add another word. So I can hit search. I added MRI, and now I'm down to 10 different matching results. So these could all be possible grants that I might want to look at. If I find one that I'm interested in, I can just click on the opportunity number and it will load it up for you. It tells you that it's from the National Science Foundation, and it will give you information that you need to find out the different information to apply. And you'll see related documents or version history and what packages, if there is any. So that's one. If I go back to my list and I look at another one, it'll give me other documents, it'll give you version history, and you'll be able to look at that information. Now, just like in Grant Forward, I can save the search. I can save it. And if this point I can choose to change any of these other limits, but I'm not going to choose any more limits. And I'm going to hit save. And now it's added to my list of different searches. So I have Alzheimer's and imaging here. And if I want to get access to my saved searches, if I go to search grants, I can manage my searches here. And then it'll bring me to this page. And then if I want to see the results, I can view the results. If I go to manage searches and then I can edit it, I can go in and edit it as well. Now let's say that you have been given a grant number to put in, and let's go back here and copy one just for the sake of it. Let's say you've been given a grant number and you want to set up an alert on that. Whoops. You can subscribe to opportunities, and you can add an opportunity subscription and then put the opportunity in and subscribe. Then this will tell you when the date is, date it was searched, the agency, and all of that. And anytime there's an update on it, it will send you an email. This is also where you can subscribe to save searches, and these are all your saved searches. All right. So now that we've gone through Grants.gov, I want to go back and talk about a few more things. So let me close out of this. And this is going over the things that we just talked about. So now I want to talk about resources to help you with your grant preparation. So I'm going to go back and to the Grant Resources webpage, and I want to show you the different resources we have available. So we have the NIH Grant Resources, How to Apply Application Guide, which has everything that you could want to writing a good grant. It's all here, and nothing is hidden. It gives you all the details, discusses what you need to make sure you have in it, all of that. And then there are the funding opportunities. There's a podcast all about grants, which will go through the whole process, preparing to apply, developing a successful grant. You can listen to any of these podcasts if you're a podcast person. Then there's the NIH Grants YouTube channel, which will have all of the different YouTube videos that they have developed for applying for grants. So there's a grant process in this list. One of the things that we have done is under Grants.gov here, we have the Grants.gov YouTube videos again. And this is the actual what is a grant. This is the bookmark series of how to apply for a grant. So this is a little bit better than using the link that was on the home page, which is this one. I suggest that you use this one. And then here's Introduction to Grants series as well. There's learning workspace video series and all different types of video series here set up. If I go back to my home, if you are doing any National Cancer Institute research, then there's a whole section here on how you apply for grants process from their perspective. So you'll be able to go through this information and make sure that you have all of it set up. And then the grant funding opportunities as well. Now, what's interesting is we've gone ahead and looked at the Center for Scientific Review at the National Institute of Health. This is the organization that they are in charge of the process for how grants are reviewed. So they talk about the application process, planning and writing, application deadlines, submission. They go through the whole process, and it's good to know their perspective on writing a good grant application. Also on this page, on the LibGuide, I should say, we have proposal writing tips. So there's the ACS Style Quick Guide, writing your application, peer review, NIH project grant program, important writing tips, and then some other links of different resources. Then the last section of this page is information for authors. I'm going to go back to the PowerPoint here for a second. I've gone through these. And now we're going to the information for authors. So I'm going to go to that. This takes you to a new page, and there's a couple of things that I want you to know about. And so under the information for authors is the writing consultants. Now, if you have Windows 11, just like with our library web guide, you'll have to use this other URL in order to get to this page for writing consultants. Talks about the writing consultants who are here to work on your grammar and punctuation when you are putting together a grant proposal. They can also set up consultations in person or virtual to help you with any step of the writing process. So this isn't just for grants. This is also for any conference abstracts, journal articles, posters, anything like that. They can help you with your writing. You do need to remember that they have turnaround times that are not 24 hours. In other words, you can't give them a 10-page document and expect them to give it back to you the next day. 10 pages or less can be returned within 2 business days. Longer manuscripts may require up to 3 weeks. So any grant is going to be a longer manuscript. So you're going to want to make sure that you have your grant written and ready to be proofread well before you end up applying. And Elliot Freeman is our writing consultant, and he's wonderful. He can help you. You want to submit your writings, though, to this email right here, the Shreve Lib Writing, because it's monitored by multiple people. So if Elliot isn't available, someone else can pick it up and help edit your work. So the bottom lines is to use tools such as search alerts from Grants Forward and Grants.com to stay aware of opportunities, and use your ORCID ID to promote your intellectual capital. And make sure that you start using and reviewing the many resources available to you for creating an awesome grant. And obviously you can't ask me any questions, but if you do have questions, this is my email. I am the liaison to the graduate studies, so please contact me if you have any questions about any resources or anything else. Thank you for your time.